What if I told you that some of the greatest basketball players in NBA history made a decision that changed their entire life forever? Not a trade, not a contract, not a retirement, a decision about their soul, about what they believe in, about who they truly are. And when they made that decision, the whole world had something to say about it. Some people cheered, some people were shocked, some people tried to destroy their careers because of it. Today we are talking about 5 NBA players who converted to Islam and how that decision changed everything for them and for the game of basketball forever. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to FS Court. If you are new here right now, I need you to do one thing before this video goes any further. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on that bell notification, because we drop NBA stories every single week that you are not going to find anywhere else. Real stories, real history, real talk. And listen, before we get into today's video, I want to ask you 2 things in the comments right now. Number 1, what is your name? And number 2, where in the world are you watching this video from? I want to know where the FS Court family is watching from today. Drop it in the comments right now. Okay, let us get into it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I want you to understand something before I tell you this story. This man is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. The skyhook, the championships, the MVP awards. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is one of the greatest basketball players who ever lived. But here is something that a lot of people forget. His name was not always Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was born Lou Alcindor. He grew up Catholic. He went to UCLA. He dominated college basketball like nobody had ever seen before. And then in 1971, at just 24 years old, Lou Alcindor made a decision that shocked the entire sports world. He converted to Islam. He studied the faith deeply and seriously. This was not something he did overnight. This was something he thought about for years. And when he converted, he legally changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which means noble servant of the most powerful. People at the time did not understand it. Some fans were angry. Some sponsors were uncomfortable. Remember, this was 1971 in America. This was not an easy decision. But Kareem did not care what the world thought. He went on to win 6 NBA championships, 6 most valuable player awards. He became the greatest scorer in the history of the sport. And he did it all as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not Lou Alcindor, as the man he chose to be. That is number 5. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. And this story is one of the most controversial stories in the history of American sports. Not just basketball, all of American sports. He was born Chris Jackson. He was a sharpshooter for the Denver Nuggets. Unbelievable scorer, lightning quick, one of the purest shooters the NBA had ever seen. And in 1991, Chris Jackson converted to Islam, and 2 years later legally changed his name to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Now, up until this point, people respected his faith. They moved on. But then came 1996. And this is where everything changed forever. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf refused to stand for the United States national anthem before games. He said that standing for the anthem conflicted with his religious beliefs and his view of what the flag represented. The NBA suspended him immediately. The entire country went crazy. Half the country said he was disrespecting America. The other half said he had every right to follow his conscience and his faith. The NBA eventually worked out a compromise where he would stand but could look down and pray during the anthem. But the damage was done. His NBA career was basically over after that season. He was only 27 years old. In his prime, one of the best shooters in the league. And his career was destroyed not because of his talent but because of what he believed in. To this day, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf stands by every decision he made. That is number 4. Kyrie Irving. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You already know Kyrie. You already have an opinion about Kyrie. But just listen to this for a second. In 2021, Kyrie Irving officially disclosed that he had converted to Islam. Now, Kyrie had always been a deeply spiritual person. Anyone who follows him knows that. But in 2021, he made it public and official. He began observing Ramadan. He spoke openly about how his faith was guiding his decisions on and off the court. And look, Kyrie Irving is one of the most talented basketball players of his entire generation. Ball handling that nobody can explain. Scoring ability that is just ridiculous. But Kyrie has also made decisions throughout his career that a lot of people did not understand. And when you understand that this is a man who is deeply committed to his faith and his spiritual journey, then a lot of those decisions start to make more sense. Whether you agree with him or not, you cannot deny this. Kyrie Irving is somebody who lives by what he believes in. And in the NBA that is actually rare. That is number 3. Number 2. Stephen Jackson. Now this story is one that really moves me personally. Stephen Jackson, 2003 NBA champion with the San Antonio Spurs. One of the toughest players to ever play the game. The kind of player you absolutely love having on your team and absolutely hate playing against. In December 2020, Stephen Jackson converted to Islam. And what makes this story so powerful is the timing and the way it happened. 2020 was the year that his best friend George Floyd was killed. If you do not know, Stephen Jackson and George Floyd were extremely close. They called each other twin because of how similar they looked. George Floyd's death shook Stephen Jackson to his core. He became one of the most vocal voices in the entire country calling for justice. And in the middle of all of that pain and grief and searching for answers, Stephen Jackson found Islam. He shared his Shahada, which is the declaration of faith, on his social media platforms for the whole world to see. He said that studying Islam gave him peace. It gave him direction. It gave him something to hold onto during the hardest period of his life. From one of the toughest players in NBA history to a man publicly sharing his declaration of faith. That is a powerful human story. That is number 2. Number 1. And this one is one that a lot of people actually do not know about. Number 1 is Larry Johnson. Now younger fans might know Larry Johnson from the famous Grandmama commercials or from the New York Knicks or the Charlotte Hornets. But here is what most people do not know. During the prime of his basketball career, Larry Johnson converted to Islam and formally adopted the Islamic name Malik Abdul-Aziz. He did not make a huge public announcement about it. He did not hold a press conference. He simply made the decision for himself and his family, and he lived by it quietly. And I think there is something incredibly powerful about that. Not everyone who converts does it for attention or for controversy. Some people do it simply because it is what their heart is telling them to do. Larry Johnson is number 1 on our list because his story reminds us that faith is personal. It is between you and God. And no matter how famous you are, that conversation belongs to you alone. So there you have it, FS Court family. 5 NBA players. 5 life-changing decisions. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Kyrie Irving, Stephen Jackson, and Larry Johnson. These men did not just play basketball. They lived by their convictions even when the whole world was watching and judging. I want to know what you think. Drop a comment right now and tell me which story surprised you the most. Which player did you not know about before today? And if you are new here, subscribe right now, because this is what FS Court is about. Not just the highlights. The real human stories behind the game we all love. Hit that bell and I will see you in the next one. FS Court, we out.